Do you remember when the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X first launched? And I think maybe that first year we saw the PlayStation 5 have, a couple frame rates better on certain games or whatever. And I thought that it was a little bit curious at the time because clearly Microsoft had stated that they waited to the last minute to incorporate things into the Xbox Series X because they wanted to wait for, whatever. I don't want to get into a whole RDNA thing because I think that'd be stupid to do. But I do believe that developers have a much firmer grasp on the Xbox Series X and even the Xbox Series S at this particular point in time, and that's boding well for all parties concerned. And we're seeing the Xbox Series X outperform the PlayStation 5 on a steady flow of games now. It seems to be pretty much most of them. What I'm failing to see is the PlayStation fanboys that will post the screenshot where for half a second there was a 2-second frame rate difference and PS5 came out on top. We're not seeing that at all anymore. It's flat out the Xbox is outperforming the PlayStation 5, and that's just the way it is. Look, the PlayStation 5 is a quality console, but just from the specs of it and just from everything we know about it, it's not as powerful as the Xbox Series X, and there's just no refuting that, right? And things will probably continue to go this way for Microsoft in the time being. Now, for me, it's starting to make a lot more sense when this kind of stuff happens, and I kind of wanted to get into it just real quick. Obviously, Xbox is doing extremely well and performing well, and it maybe makes sense for this game to perform as well as it does on the Xbox Series X. If you didn't know, Deathloop is running better on the Series X and the PS5, and the Series S has been treated very well, too. After a year of console exclusivity on the PlayStation 5, Deathloop arrived on the Xbox Series X and S, so how does the Microsoft-owned IP run on the company's own consoles? Well, according to a performance analysis from IGN, Xbox Series X owners have waited their turn are indeed getting the superior version of the game. And even the Xbox Series S has been treated well. There's a full analysis that I'm going to link in the description below, and you can check it out. Now, please like the video. I'm looking for 100 likes on all the videos that I do. I know it's probably a small goal, but it's something that I'm looking forward to very much of accomplishing. I think we all have to set sort of goals for ourselves, and I would just be much appreciated if you could do that. So, thank you. Both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions of Deathloop offer up the same visual modes: performance, which is dynamic 4K with 60 FPS, visual, which is dynamic 4K and 60 FPS, ray tracing with dynamic 4K 30 FPS and ray tracing, and ultra performance, which is locked 1080p 120 frames per second and VRR. In modes with dynamic 4K, the resolution can drop to around 1800p on both systems, but not much below. This is also an issue where proper sharpening filters haven't been applied in ray tracing mode on PS5, making its dynamic image look ever so slightly blurrier than on Xbox Series X. That said, overall image quality is largely superior on the Xbox Series X. So how about performance? Well, ray tracing and performance modes are basically a match, delivering solid 30 FPS in the first mode and 60 in the latter. That said, Xbox Series X has a huge advantage in quality mode, where it often pulls ahead of the PS5 by 5 to 15 frames per second. This advantage is even greater in the 120 frames ultra performance mode, where the Series X can sometimes lead by as much as 30 frames per second. That said, Xbox Series X has done a tremendous job of coming out on top here, and as for the Xbox Series S, the news is refreshingly good, which often seems kind of strange, but I think people are starting to get a hold of what the Series S can do. It gets quality and performance modes, but both run consistently at 60 FPS, with quality only dropping 1 or 2 frames. So yeah, very cool to see that. And again, Microsoft seems to have really done a good job of having something like this come out. So I know that people had to wait, and listen, I'm not a big Deathloop guy. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon just because Deathloop is on Xbox now or whatever. I think it's cool that it's on Xbox. I'm not really interested. Maybe one day I'll want to go out and play it or whatever, but for right now, it's not something that I'm hugely interested in. And for the most part, like I said, I could have played it already on PlayStation if I wanted to or whatever, but it is nice to see that developers are doing what they should with the Xbox Series console, right? And even the Series S, I like the fact that they're kind of nailing it from that perspective. So it's nice to see that they've kind of come through for fans, and that they continue to do these amazing things for everybody. And that's just really just goes to show you that Microsoft did the right thing with waiting for the technology to kind of develop, and waiting for things to kind of be in a better space before going ahead with it. And that's a very smart thing to do. Obviously, we're kind of living in a point in time where people are in a now, right now type of mode, and that's kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, it is nice to see that we're starting to see all of these things kind of pick up for the Xbox Series X. I'm excited by the fact that we're seeing all of this stuff happen with the way that it is, and just honestly, the ability for Microsoft to kind of nail these things has been nothing short of stunning and amazing. I'm just thrilled with it, and it just goes in to show you in the long run, one of the many reasons why I haven't really messed with the PlayStation 5 since pretty much February, because at the end of the day, I think it's a good console, but if you're just playing it for the exclusives, and mostly like the first party stuff, or even if you wanted like the timed exclusive, it's like there hasn't really been much on there that's appealed to me personally. Now, you might be different, and there might be a lot of things that appeal to you on the PlayStation 5, but for me personally, I was interested in Horizon Forbidden West, but that ended up letting me down. I have no interest in Gran Turismo, and when it comes to Xbox, obviously they've had an incredibly weak year from the first party, but even the multiplats have been weaker. I haven't bought nearly as many games as I normally would, but it's still interesting to see how this all kind of turned out, and how Microsoft continues to kind of chug ahead with what they're doing now. Sony, on the other hand, they're going to obviously have to come up with something, whether it be a PS5 Pro, or whether it be something along those lines at some point, because we're not seeing a whole lot in terms of what that console can do as to what maybe what we've all been expecting things to do. So I do hope that we see some kind of change before too long. Sony, I guess, will have to go on the offensive and try to get something let's try to get something done before too long. So hopefully we see something. But I do love seeing all these amazing things happen. And I do love seeing, the fact that Microsoft was very smart with what they've kind of been able to accomplish with the Xbox Series X. It's like, I love the fact that they've been so adamant about some of this stuff. It's just been great to see. And, for me personally, kind of shutting up the fanboys and stuff like that. I love the fact that, that they're able to accomplish so many things, despite the fact that they have this industry that sort of has this hate for them, and it's kind of crazy to think about that they've been able to be even as successful as they are. But like I said, I'm going to link this in the description below. You can check it out. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap gamer out.